so me and my brother went over to talk to him on the break, introduced ourselves, and we became fast friends after that. And we hung out a lot during the 80s. That was a great time for music for a lot of us because there was a lot going on compared to what is happening today. I feel there was just a lot of music happening, and back then you would be on a stage with a punk band, a new wave band, a blues band, a rockabilly band. They'd all be on the same show. That's how the scene was back then. So we soaked up all the music. We'd go out and see bands if we didn't have a gig, and we listened to old records and try to cop licks. Nowadays, I know you can just go to YouTube and you can figure it out, or somebody actually has tablature for it. But back then, you'd actually have to find records, and you'd have to learn the stuff off the records, and that's what Kid did. Listened to a lot of old 78s. We went to go see a lot of bands play, and he would take all that knowledge, and he would learn that stuff, and he would take that to his stage every single night, and he would play that music, and he would hone that sound, and he would work on it, and he'd work on it, and he did it so much that he came up with his own style in blues. So much so that you can hear a record today, and if Kid's on it, you'll know it's him.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how much he came up with his own style. Now, I'm really happy to watch Kid on all those years. He started out with the James Harmon Band, went to the Room Full of Blues, and he ended up being in Fabulous Thunderbirds, which was a huge deal for us to see him get into a band like that and see him on a big stage. And it was wonderful to see him up there doing that. But this is the music business, and things are tough, and this is a fickle business. So you think, hey man, I'm in this super huge band, I'm doing really, really great, everybody thinks I'm doing great. But when you're not touring, that means you're not making any money. So, you know, here's a guy who's dedicated his life to music. But the other thing that he's dedicated his life to was his family. He was raising a family at the time. And he was trying to figure out what he was going to do to make money so he could put food in his kids' mouth and a roof over their head. So when he wasn't touring, he was trying to pick up gigs in town. And when that didn't work out, he even went and got himself a second job. He's working a day job during the day, and he's playing music at night. And I really respect him for doing that. That's a person who's got a lot of heart that would be able to still play music and take care of his family. And to me, that's the biggest achievement that he's ever had. I can attest to certain nights where I'd be doing gigs with Kid, and it'd be 1:30 in the morning, and we'd all be loading in our stuff, putting it in our car to go home, and he'd be getting his stuff in his car, and he'd be trying to get home as soon as he could, because by the time he got home, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and everybody here knows how that is. 3 o'clock in the morning is when you get home. Well, at 6 o'clock in the morning, he had to get up and go to work. And the rest of us went to Denny's, had some food, and then what we did was just slept in, and then we'd get up at noon and watch reruns on television. So it was a lot different, you know, and I really respect him for doing that, for taking care of his family first and foremost, but never giving up on the music. There's been plenty of times where he's had to have a day job, and then he's still played music. He plays music today. He's been through a lot in the last couple of years, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you know that. But I'm very, very proud to be his friend, and I'm very proud of what he's done and what he's accomplished. And we are going to play a clip right now to have a few other people talk about Kid right now.
Kid Ramos is one of the greatest blues and roots guitar players alive in the world today. Kid Ramos.
Kid Ramos.
Kid Ramos. Kid Ramos.
Kid Ramos. Kid Ramos.
1, 2, 1, 2. Jazz, rock and roll, I would even go as far as to say hip hop and rap evolved through the years from blues. And David Kid Ramos is keeping that tradition alive.
Well, Kid Ramos he started off as a kid, oddly enough. Grew up in Anaheim. His parents were opera singers. He liked all that stuff, instilled with a love of music early on. And then he heard B.B. King.
Kid has a huge variety of styles that he can play. Anything from West Coast jump or swing to deep Chicago blues.
But he also plays with a ton of finesse and feel and style. There's a lot of people that just play weedle, 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 look at me music all day long. His playing more like tells a story. He plays not just a lot of notes, but notes that say something.
Well, he was in my band closer to 9 years. He says 7, but I don't know. You do the math.
I think he was 21 when he started playing with James Harmon.
So Kid Ramos started coming to our gigs, and I'd let him sit in, and he played very good. And after 3 or 4 of these sit-ins, we sort of made an agreement that I would get rid of Sue Bradshaw and hire him. I went to poor old Soup, and I said, Soup, we got to talk. He goes, I know what you're going to say. That little Mexican kid, the short guy with the big arms and cool hair, keeps coming around playing all out of tune. We're going to have to tell him to quit coming around. I said, nah, Soup, that's not it. What it is he's replacing you, and I might have to let you go. But then, like is so often the case, that time came when he met the right girl, and he announced he was getting married and not going to play anymore. We had a wonderful run.
He's a great guy. He's cool. You know, you go outside and he'll be working on a motorcycle or working on the truck that we have. And my dad, has taught us a lot of stuff like that. How to fix certain things. How to throw a right punch. You know.
How to be a man.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
At that particular time, he had put his music on the back burner.
And actually quit music for a while. He was delivering water, and he did that for a couple of years, so he really just literally couldn't keep from playing music anymore, and he started his own band instead.
He'd come and play the shows at night, but then he'd leave and he'd go home, and he'd have to get up at 5:30 in the morning so he could go to his job.
And a big change came when he got approached by the Fabulous Thunderbirds to join them.
And folks, believe it or not, the Fabulous Thunderbirds are here to rock your world.
He was in the Fabulous Thunderbirds for 7 years. He was fantastic, you know. He had a lot of fans. He's got a lot of energy. He's got he's got everything it takes to be a great musician.
Kid Ramos is a guy that I'll always think of as always played the right thing in the right place. And so I respect him greatly. I look forward to next time we play together.
He spent his whole life being dedicated to this style of music.
It's very important for people like Kid to carry on that tradition. And it's very rare to find people that play it the way it should be played and play it right.
Honoring the gift. As my good friend Billy F. Gibbons says, we got to honor the gift. Kid Ramos has certainly been honoring his gift all his life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 Lifetime Achievement Award goes to my good friend, Kid Ramos. I love this man.
I don't have a big speech prepared or anything like that. I'm just going to say a few things from my heart. I don't know how much time I have. Okay, in closing. No, you know, when I was a kid in my room practicing guitar and listening to B.B. King live at the Regal and trying to learn all those things off those records, I imagined all kinds of things. I dreamt of all wonderful things of being on a stage and all these other things, but I never, ever thought of this. I never did. When Jim Washburn called me and said, they want to give you this Lifetime Achievement Award, do you think you're going to be alive in March? You got to know Jim Washburn. And I just laughed, you know. I said, I hope so, Jim. In 2012, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to go through a whole lot of stuff all through, up until just actually a few months ago. My hair is just starting to grow back, and I'm starting to get my strength back, but I remember the day I was driving in my car and I got a phone call from my oncologist, and he said, you're gonna have to go through a year of chemotherapy. We're gonna give you 5 different chemo drugs. 2 of them are the strongest drugs we have. You're gonna have to be in the hospital for 5 days at a time, 6 hours a day of chemo, and then we're gonna give you radiation and surgery as well. And I thought, okay, then what? What's gonna happen? Well, we don't know. We don't really know. If there's any doctors in the house, with all respect, you know, they call it a practice for a reason. They never can give you an answer for some reason. They never can tell you what's going to happen here or there, whatever. But I got off the phone with them, and I sat in my car and I cried. I had a real good cry. I was by myself, and I let it all out. And I said, you know what? I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't say, why me, you know? I totally gave it to God, man. I gave it to the Lord. And I said, you know what? I can't bear it. I can't carry it. But I know God can. And that was the only way I could get through it. The love of my family, my lovely wife, Linda, my 2 boys, Anthony and Johnny, the love of my friends. I have wonderful friends. And all my family, my great family that I have, my brothers and my sister and everybody, my dad, all the support from everybody. And you know what? I got through it, and I'm here today. So thank God for that. I always just try to do 3 things. I try to do the best job that I could do. I try to not think too highly of myself, and give all the glory to God. That's it. Thank you so much.
Kid Ramos, everybody. I love the 3 things at the end. I see you're making your way to your guitar and went home.